Gospel according to St. Luke. Each year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the feast of Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up according to the festival custom. And after they had completed its days, they were returning. The boy Jesus remained behind in Jerusalem, but his parents did not know it. Thinking that he was in the caravan, they journeyed for a day and looked for him among the relatives and acquaintances, but did not find him. They returned to Jerusalem to look for him, and after 3 days they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were astonished at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. And his mother said to him, "Son, why have you done this to us? Your father and I have been looking for you with great anxiety." And he said to them, "Why were you looking for me? Did you not know I must be in my Father's house?" But they did not understand what he had said to them. He went down with them and came to Nazareth and was obedient to them. And his mother kept all these things in her heart. And Jesus advanced in wisdom and age and favor before God and man. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Come, Holy Spirit, come by the most powerful means of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, your well-beloved spouse. Today, this Sunday, we celebrate the Holy Family, the feast day of the Holy Family. And as we go through this Christmas season, we look at family because they are all around us. And sometimes what happens with family is there's a lot of miscommunication, especially between the generations. We hear the readings today that say, "Be obedient to your husband." So I want to say that again. Ladies, wives, be obedient to your husband. Guys like that. Well, I got one for you guys too. Guys, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. How much did Christ love the church? That's how much Christ loved the church. He died for it. So you guys are going to be crucified practically every day. Ladies, our children crucify us practically every day as well. So there is that aspect of suffering and sacrifice in family. And we have to remember that love is not a notion. Love is something that we learn in family. It is the first fruits of that relationship, of mother-son relationship, mother-daughter relationship. And that protection and love from the Father comes in. We see that with Joseph and Mary and Jesus. And the thing is sometimes we forget that it's our parents that teach us how to love. And then as teenagers, we get all squirrely on them and we reject that love. No, I don't want any hugs and kisses in public anymore. You know, you're embarrassing, Mom and Dad. Even they're trying to love you. But moms and dads, love changes. We have to change with our children. We have to love them through their episodes, in a sense, or their phases. And we have to keep that love constant so they always know that it's there and they will return. If we look at the love of God, you were created by God. And even when you sin, even when you struggle, even when you do not choose Him, He still calls you forward. And He forgives us. And He wants to restore us into His love. He wants to put sandals on our feet, a robe on our back, and a ring on our finger. Just like the prodigal son. So that love is not this feeling of when a boy walks into a room or a girl walks in a room and, oh, I'm in love. That's not love. Sorry, teenagers, that's not love. Love is a choice. We choose to love someone. We choose to love them through thick and thin. They may have an addiction. They may do horrible things. They may be abusive. But we choose to love who we love. God puts them in our life for a reason. And it's hard sometimes because when they don't act in that peace of Christ, which is talked about in Colossians today, it's hard because then love suffers. But we've seen that before, right? Love does sometimes suffer. There's very good, high, beautiful, peaceful, loving moments. And then there's the times when love does suffer. My brothers and sisters, we have to accept it all. We have to accept all of it. But if you are the one making everybody suffer, sometimes I pray God will come out of heaven and go, knock it off. Because that suffering spreads to those that you love. They want the best thing for you. And when you're suffering, they suffer as well. This Christmas, we have an opportunity to model that love of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph in our lives, into our children's lives, into our grandchildren's lives. And I think it's important because there's such a separation between generations nowadays, where I grew up in the 90s, right? I went to school, graduated in 1991, and computers just came out, and I'm like, what is this thing, right? The cell phone just came out, and I'm like, really? I can carry a cell in my pocket? And then these supercomputers, these iPhones, where you have all of this stuff, and you can be there, and you can track everything, and it pays things, and all that. Kids are better at it than we are, let's be honest. But the thing is sometimes that takes away from family. So we have to start these rituals in our lives, in our homes, to protect that peace of Christ, which is talked about in the second reading. And sometimes it's prayer before meals. Sometimes it's just prayer together as a family. Sometimes it's, okay, put the cell phone away during dinner. Right? Just little things like that. I'm sorry, teenagers. Sometimes it's just got to be this way. But the human interaction between us is so very important. But as adults, we have to understand that what the culture is doing to our children. It's not a bad thing, but the thing is, it does take away from Christ and his peace and his love and teaching that love. So we have to make those little memorials institutions. It's like putting the Bible in a primary space in your home. Blow off the dust of your Bible. Put it in a primary place so your kids can see it, so they can grab it, they can read it. If it's a crucifix on the wall, if it's an image of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, to enshrine that Holy Family in your house, to consecrate your home to the Holy Family, to ask their love to be present with you in your home. And then bring all things to your family, your spouses, your children, grandchildren, with the peace of Christ. Sometimes our expectations get away from us. Remember that if you have high expectations of yourself, that's a good thing. But as soon as you take those expectations, put them on your spouse, or put them on your children, or your grandchildren, you're always going to be disappointed. Because guess what? They don't know your expectations. They don't know what's going through your head. I've been trying for years to become a mind reader, and it doesn't work very well, right? So we have to be patient, to be loving, and be kind as we communicate with one another, but also to allow the things to fall away that bother us, and have the peace of Christ in our mind and in our heart when we deal with one another. Let us stand and pray.